America's students are back on campus. Are the values they're learning in the classroom in harmony with your values at home? This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard along with Candi Cushman, who watches over a website we have called truetolerance.org. Hi, Candi.
Hi, Stuart.
Every year, a public school brings new challenges, new issues for families as they find out, who's teaching who and what classes are there and what's on the calendar and all those kinds of things. For many, this may be the very first time they've had to deal with the topic of gay activism in the public schools. What should they be watching for? What are the signs that they may be running into something?
Well, Stuart, we've been tracking this trend for a while now. It's true that promotion of homosexual themes, the deconstruction of the traditional meaning of family and marriage is happening more aggressively and more frequently at younger and younger ages in public schools across the nation. It's definitely something that sadly parents need to be aware of. But what I want to alert parents to today is that this is starting to go into a whole new area, and we've been tracking this. And it's just this whole idea that male and female, man, woman, that really doesn't have any meaning. In fact, it doesn't exist. That male and female is something that we just made up as human beings. It wasn't a design by God, we created it.
Yeah.
And so that's how that's translating into the classroom is really kind of you can choose your own sexuality message to kids. You can choose from a whole array of things. You can choose to be bisexual. You can choose to be something called genderqueer. That means a combination of male, female, or neither one. You don't have to be male or female. You can be a mixture of both. Things like experimenting with transgenderism, which gets into cross-dressing behaviors, just all kinds of things. And really, I think when you boil it down, it's a message of sexual anarchy, sexual chaos, and sending a message of gender confusion to our children.
And you brought a book that's one example of that, that some parents may see on a shelf.
Yeah, the way this plays out a lot of times is through books that are promoted to kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
So this book is an example of the kind of things that parents might encounter in the classroom. This is a book about a boy that struggles with his identity. He begins to identify as a girl. He likes to wear dresses. And so, I think, Stuart, we can assume that the majority of parents don't really send their kids to school to deal with things like cross-dressing and transgenderism. They want them to teach the basics, math and reading. And so what we're concerned about is parents having the right to weigh in on how, when, and if these topics are approached with their kids.
And when I see this book, it's even the publishing of it, the shape of it, the binding, it's designed to feel right in the hands of an elementary school kid. Mm-hmm. Now, this might be a topic that would be appropriate for a high school classroom to talk about academically, but to bring it into elementary school in a children's book form is kind of troubling.
It's not what parents are sending their kids to school to learn. We send them to learn academics, to become American citizens. It's not to experiment with homosexual activism. I'd like to just give you another example, Stuart. Sure. Another way that parents need to be aware that this stuff is coming into their schools is through trainings. I've talked to a lot of parents across the nation that find out that there was a training held on campus that they didn't even know about it. They learn about it after, and all of a sudden all these materials are coming into their classrooms after the training.
Yeah.
And so again, GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, is one of the largest groups pushing these trainings. And in fact, they encourage schools to require trainings as a part of an anti-bullying campaign. And they market this resource as the way to do that, the way to have a training for that. It's called the GLSEN Lunchbox. So be aware if you see this cropping up in your school. And in this lunchbox, I've pulled out two teacher training cards, educator training cards. And it really gets at the themes that I was alerting people about earlier. You have a card here, getting in touch with your inner tranny, that educators and teachers are supposed to discuss.
A tranny being?
Well, yeah, in case you're not familiar with that term, a tranny refers to someone that, again, is experimenting with transgenderism, cross-dressing behaviors. The way this is explained to your kids a lot of times is that the sex that they were born with doesn't match what they feel in their heart and their head. That's kind of how it's being taught to children.
Yeah.
This card, deconstructing definitions of family. What I found interesting about this training card for educators and teachers is that on the back it has discussion questions, and one of those is, how can we fight the traditional definitions of family? So you notice that word fight. This is not about anti-bullying. This is an activist agenda that's pretty radical. And so parents need to have their eyes open to that. Don't be afraid when you hear about a program from GLSEN, Safe Schools, to go in and start asking questions and to let your educators know what it's really about. And our website makes it easy for them to do that.
What that language sets up, if your family believes firmly, based on Christian beliefs, that a mom and a dad married for life with children is God's design for the family, that's His timeless design, it's the goal that we're aiming for, then they're saying they're fighting against you. You're the enemy.
They're asking educators to fight against that, which really isn't the role of our teachers. And I think even a lot of teachers would be uncomfortable at being in the position of having to, quote, fight against a lot of the important moral values and religious beliefs of the people in their school community.
Now let's talk about the resources on the website. You mentioned that real quick. Talk about the tools and resources you have that parents can take advantage of there.
Well, seeing this trend happen, we really wanted to do something that would strengthen parents' ability to protect and safeguard the innocence of their children in the school. And one thing I really want to point out is that it's important not only for schools to protect children physically, but also psychologically and emotionally. So the school should be coming alongside the parent to offer both types of protection, not making it harder for the parent. And so some of the tools we have on there to help you do that are new parental rights tools that we recently unveiled. Part of that is a model parental rights policy developed by one of the largest legal groups in the nation, Alliance Defending Freedom. Okay. And what this policy does, if it's implemented, is strengthen parents' rights to be notified about things like this coming up in their school. The school's required to notify them about it, and then they have the opportunity to opt their child out of it. And it's not just homosexual themes that we're hearing about that parents are concerned. We're seeing news headlines about schools distributing contraceptives to kids as young as kindergarten, sexually graphic teaching. And so we hear concerns from parents, and so this model legislation also addresses all of those areas, and it can be used at the state legislative level or the local school board level.
Now, it's one thing to identify these problems. It's something else then to respond affirmatively and in a Christian way. I mean, we don't want to go in with the baseball bat and clear out the offices or anything. How should parents respond? How do they approach this?
Well, I agree with you, Stuart. It's so important to be proactive and go in with a positive solution when you approach school officials. You don't want to just go in with concerns and complaints. You want to offer them a way to address those and have a solution. And so that's what I love about our website, because it has specific solutions that can actually help school officials, like the model parental rights policy. We have a model anti-bullying policy on there. We have a parent's bill of rights that you can print out and take in there and talk over with your school official. These are the rights, like being able to review my child's curriculum and tests that I feel are reasonable. If this isn't allowed in our school, can we change policy to reflect what's on here? And so we have tools that allow you to communicate in a fact-based and a reasonable way.
And it's also, I think, very important for parents to know they're not alone in this. They're not the only ones.
Right. You know, I think it's so easy for parents to feel alone. If they see something like this coming up in the school, they might feel like they're the only parent speaking out, even though they're really not. I think there is a silent majority there of parents that are concerned and want to protect their children's innocence. And so the reason we've created this website is to let you know that your voice is backed by national groups like Focus on the Family, legal groups like Alliance Defending Freedom. And we've put all of these tools at your fingertips to give you the confidence to articulate your viewpoint and do what you need to do to protect your kids.
Very good. Well, Candi, thank you for keeping track of this and offering all of this helpful stuff to help parents through what can be a difficult time in school.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
And thank you. Thanks to all of you who watch us here on the CitizenLink Report each week. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. And remember, stand tall and be heard.